Hi, so I'm the new guy. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me. My name is Nee. I run ElectricmotorGP, which is a YouTube channel, and I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to catch up with you and just to um, ask a few questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. How do I pronounce your name? Is it Nee?
Knee
You
is
said?
perfect. In fact, you're one of the very few people that says it without actually making it sound like you're talking about your knee.
Now that's all I'm going to think about. So,
I,
damn
I, I,
it.
I wasn't try. I wasn't trying to set you up. I promise.
Well, you have. So that's fine. Jason with traditional spelling.
Yes.
So yeah,
Right.
not so exotic.
No, not exotic, no. But it depends on which part of the world you're in. So let's put it that way. There are a few things I've had from guys that follow the channel. I'm going to be honest. I'm a semi fanboy of Xpeng as well, Xpeng, and so having the opportunity to talk to you, I'm getting goosebumps, to be honest.
That's good. Yeah, whereabouts are you based? Are you in WA?
I'm in WA. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Have you seen any Xpeng cars on the road?
Three.
Yeah.
Very specific. Three. I saw one in March. Then I saw one again in May, and then one recently.
Yeah, okay. We've delivered about 150 to WA, but uh, it's a pretty big state, as you'd be aware. So,
It is. It is.
yeah. We've got more coming in or being delivered now, actually. So you should see a few more on the road, and then we've got another shipment middle of next month. So there'll be even more.
Right, looking forward to it. I think like I said, I am a bit of a fanboy. So if I come across as a bit nerdy, don't be too cross with me.
No, it's good because full disclosure, I mean we did pursue the brand. We did quite a lot of research in China to. I mean, TrueEV was about bringing a number of EVs, different brands to market,
Yeah,
and have like an EV lifestyle brand as
yeah.
opposed to being a distributor of Xpeng.
So you've chosen Xpeng. You've got the one of the most technologically advanced brands on your plate. How do you translate that to the Australian market where most people not still look at cars from the concept of 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah, it's a good point. And worry about price.
Fair point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that's what we see happening in the marketplace is that like you, I have many conversations about EVs, and half the people say it'll never happen here,
Yeah.
and the other half say, my next car's going to be an EV. Like it's happening. It has happened, and that's the evolution. Advent of EVs and the technology, it's not going to be a fast adoption.
No.
So so the critics of EVs go, yeah, and see how slow it is. But if you look at the stats, you can see in certain categories of vehicles, the growth of EVs is huge.
Yeah.
In others, slow, like utilities, utes, look slow because of the dominance of, you know, Ford Ranger,
Yeah.
Hilux, and the Isuzu D-Max.
Yeah.
So three biggest sellers in Australia. The BYD Shark is making inroads, but you would, if you just look at that stat, there's no take up. So people are buying them differently. If you've been in China, you can see that Xpeng are selling 10,000 or getting orders 10,000 P7 plus orders in an hour. Right?
G7. G7,
It, it's
10,000 orders in an hour.
was it G7? Yeah, G7. You're right.
G7. I was awake for that one. I stayed up for it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so if we could get 10,000 pre-orders in an hour, I probably wouldn't take your call because I'd be just bathing in my cash. So it's but it's insane. But something different is happening. So we are nowhere near up the curve of EV adoption in China. Like I used to go to Guangzhou, to the cities, to do an HSBC site visit for their pension administration center in a previous life, and you could not breathe
Yeah.
the air. The lifestyle in that city's fundamentally changed. The air quality index is excellent when you check it out. It's fundamentally becoming different. So you're buying cars for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not just safety and economy, it's the entertainment, it's what it's providing, comfort, the AI, visibility, fall asleep at the wheel and still get driven home, like so many things that it's offering up. Colors, very, very different, and the feature set and the technology that's provided, it's not been experienced before. It's fundamentally different. It's going to take a while for Australians consumers to be in the space to adopt a lot of these cars.
You've given me segues into about 3 or 4 different questions, but I have to be sensible with what I'm going to ask. So I'm going to go, first of all, for example, the Mona is probably Xpeng's most popular car in China, accounting for almost 30 to 40% of all their sales at the moment. Are we likely to see the Mona come into Australia, for example, because the price point of that would actually convince a lot of people to take a punt?
It's true. That price point and the feature set is a contradiction to everything you learn about marketing.
100%.
You can't have quality for low price. It's one or the other. Well, it's all blurred.
It's blurred with the Mona. It's completely blurred, especially with the Mona Max that's just come up recently, which now has what you will call the equivalent of the FSD on it. And again, a sub $20,000 price point. I know it's not going to come into Australia sub $20,000, but you get my point.
Yeah. So this is what we have to do. We clearly want Xpeng to bring this into Australia. I have to be the guy that says, at this point in time, although we're hoping to get it into Australia, it's not confirmed. The issue for Xpeng is the demand on right-hand drives and what they have to do and what they have to spend. So it's at least a 10 million Aussie dollar commitment to get that here.
Okay.
We're trying to get the X9 7-seater.
Yeah.
We've proven the business case for that. We think that's an incredible vehicle with clear competitive space that we could take. The Mona 03 we want as a sedan option because we think that, and the price point, and because of the Tesla Model 3 sales and how that's sort of reinvented sedan sales.
Yeah.
We think that would go really well here. We have to do more work to prove that up.
I'm going to tell you something, and this is from the feedback from the people that are coming to me. It's that the cars they would really, really want. So from the Mona 3 perspective, you've got the ride-hailing drivers that are using the Camrys, for example. That would be your segment. And I get a lot of them when I talk to them tell me, look, if they had something better, they'd go for it. And there's a lot of Model 3 drivers in Perth that are ride-hailing drivers, as well as Model Y drivers. So there's a space in there. But I get you're the one who's got to do the business case. I'm just talking anecdotal information, which might be something or not.
Yeah, I mean, I want it all, but that's greedy. It doesn't always work out.
No, it doesn't. But we all have that temptation to be greedy every now and then. Now
But you're right. We're making the business case.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get both.
No.
The Mona 3 is more likely than the
P7,
P7 Plus.
There are a couple of cars that you've got that we think that would be lovely, that we would love to have, but the lag between when we hear about the cars and when they come into Australia, for example, means that there's so much competition by the time they eventually arrive. So I'll give you my case in point. The first car I fell in love with was not the G6, was the G9. And I've waited for the G9 for probably about 18 to 24 months or thereabouts. And I have no date when it's coming in. And I know you took a decision that you wanted the updated model to come in. So what I'm trying to ask is, which models are coming in the near future that we could look forward to?
That's a great question. It's really good. So the G9 was committed to Australia for the last quarter of this year. That's no longer the case. The X9 as well is no longer confirmed, and Xpeng head office are yet to make decisions on exactly what they're going to commit to the right-hand drive Australian market. So
Okay.
as the local distributor, that makes it difficult for us. We've put forward the business case for what we would like, and we negotiate with them for what will be committed to this space. But at this point in time, we have the G6, we have updated G6 flagged for next year. The G9 is also flagged. We've taken quite a few pre-orders on the understanding that that was coming and is coming, but the exact dates we are not clear, and keep searching to get clarity from head office in Guangzhou.
Okay.
So the anecdotes that you have are reality. They're not. That's not just a couple of people that are a bit disgruntled. It is difficult for this brand that we're going to have to commit to a pipeline of models and ensure that shipments aren't interrupted, and that customers who love the brand like you and I get their cars delivered with consistency that that they should expect and deserve. So we've been able to do that in early days. There's been an interruption with shipments and the directive from head office. It's getting resolved now, and I expect probably middle of next month there'll be a lot more certainty in what's coming to Australia.
With regard in using the Tesla superchargers and what seems to be a specific block to Xpeng, is there any resolution of this coming soon?
We've had a number of users that have been able to use the Tesla superchargers using a certain manual technique that I wouldn't recommend.
No.
We did a road trip pretty much all around Australia testing the ability to charge, and that didn't go well. Our head office engineers have found out what the issue is, speak with Tesla to get that unblocked. I don't know if that is a company competitive issue, as in it's a specific block to a competitor. I don't think that's great for the category.
Yeah.
Like I respectfully say, if it wasn't for Tesla or BYD, we wouldn't be selling any cars. So it's that competitive behavior is pretty silly in my book. But what I'll do is there was a recent update on that. So just before we jump off the call, I'll get some confirmation of what the true status of that is.
Okay.
Because it's pretty live now.
Yeah.
And although I was across that early and I was dealing with head office with it, I don't know where that lands today.
Okay.
You know the history. They updated their firmware in January 2025 and the compatibility disappeared. In that time, and it's just about the 800 volt technology issue. That was the problem. Xpeng and Tesla are working together to get it resolved, and I have it that there's good cooperation, so it's not mean-spirited anti-competitive behavior. officially.
Officially.
Having said that, Gen 1, Gen 2 Tesla chargers are now compatible with Xpeng.
Okay.
3 and 4 are not.
Okay.
But are forecast to come online soon.
Okay. There are two parts that I've got to come through next. Me being WA based, we tend to feel like we're the forgotten cousins on every EV or every automotive thing that's going on. So I'll give you an example. I've been trying to get hold of a press car in WA now for about 6 months. No such luck. Also, whenever there's an event going on, we're usually the last people to get notified, or even, in fact, we watch it to know that this is what's going on, so we don't get the ability to actually support and do enough, in my opinion, to get the community to be aware that there's something going on, that this is live, or you can relate to this as well. Now, Western Australians tend to feel like they're special, which is true. We feel like they don't.
So true.
We don't.
Special in a good way.
Right. We think we're not taken seriously, so we're going to ignore them as well, which for a brand starting out can adversely affect the perceptions of whether or not this is something that we can look at. That's the first part of that question. The second part of the question is location of where you can get access to the cars. I've personally gone to the two locations, and I think from someone who's trying to access the locations, it seems a little bit more laborious to get access to, so to speak.
Yep. No, that's even polite. So in our, like I said, we've been going a year with Xpeng. We have locations in WA with more flagged. Our partners, our dealer partners in that state, they look at the pipeline of what's coming in and what they will commit to in terms of product. So would you build a showroom for one model with one variant with no confirmation of other models? So the
Fair
answer
enough.
is no. I'm not going to take a 5-year lease and a $2 million fit out for something that's unknown. I'm not saying that's the case, by the way.
No. You fair point.
There's more than one variant and there's more than one model, but these are the difficulties of a new brand and a new market. So it's not WA, it's WA, South Australia,
Okay.
Queensland, less so New South Wales and Victoria. So what we've done at TrueEV is we've invested heavily in New South Wales and Victoria for quality showrooms and experiences, but we haven't yet been able to expand that out in other states. We are. We're opening a new showroom in Sydney. Well, it opened Monday, soft launch, but that's at Crown in Sydney.
Yeah.
But our dealer partners in WA have a couple of locations. We've got another 3 coming on, but they're now finally getting delivery of cars. So, it's taken a year.
Yeah.
But you'll find that there's stock there now. There's more test drives, and you'll see that the showrooms and the facilities that are available will enhance pretty quickly.
Okay.
So it's not that WA's forgotten. It's just the difficulties of a new brand.
Okay.
You just can't have 50 Australia-wide showrooms plus 24/7 roadside assist plus service plus repairs all from day one.
No.
I remember Tesla 10 years ago, the cars lined up at Star Casino in Piermont in Sydney because that was the only place you could charge it. And I was laughing, going, look at those fools. There's one place to charge your car. There's no infrastructure. But uncannily, they were all smiling back then because they were onto something new. And there was no infrastructure, and they were all chatting and making new friends and talking about their experience with a new car that hardly anyone had. And that was the upside of that experience. But the thing is with Tesla, they didn't hit Australia with blanket infrastructure ready
No,
to go.
no.
It was a rollout.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that. It's not WA specific.
I use Norway as an example 90% of the time. Norway is a small little island, 5 million people, fully committed to EVs, and there's a lot of investment into it, and therefore you reap the rewards of your investment. And there, as of, I think it was last month, it was 96 or 97% of all cars that were sold in Norway are fully electric. They're not even going hybrids anymore. So, and then when you then...
Which I like. I'm a purist in that front. That is the way to go. But as a statistician, someone said, Jason, where is the highest adoption of EVs? Expecting the answer to be China, but it is Norway.
It is Norway, yeah. So, and then when I then go back, I say, look, WA is the Norway of Australia. It's a little space. The city of Perth has got 2.2 million people in there. If you put your infrastructure in, you do the things that you're supposed to do, you'll get your market. Now, you've already touched on this, and I will be honest. I like a car that can go as fast as it can go. And I was really tempted, and I'm still probably going to do this as soon as I can get my license to drive in China. I know for a fact that the G6 has got an all-wheel drive version of it, which is capable of doing 0 to 100 in about 3.8 seconds or something of that nature. And the ones that are in Australia at the moment, the best version of it is the NMC long range, which has got the 210 kilowatt hour electric motor, which does 0 to 106.2. So, as a fanboy, I'm not. When are we getting the all-wheel drive?
So the G6 performance,
yes,
was forecast to come in 2025, and it is unlikely to. But I would say that will almost definitely be here in 2026.
Okay. XNGP. Are we getting in at some point?
Sorry, what was that?
Self-driving. XNGP.
That's always configured, but wow, like so many components of even the G6 are decommissioned for local requirements, regulations. So you said you're going to China and you're going to test drive this, and this. And you go to Bangkok and you get to test drive this, and this. You can do very many different things when you do that test drive. But here, it's a lot of those features are decommissioned. The self-driving, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of TrueEV. When you start seeing concessions on TrueEV for hybrids and plug-in hybrids and still burning fuel, my personal opinion is, what's the point? I just don't get that. I'm sure there's reasons, but I don't have range anxiety. I don't, you've just got a different vehicle. You've got to plan some things out. It's okay. There's availability. Yeah, I'm a believer. That's a long game, that one. The technology will keep happening. It'll get safer. Obviously, Xpeng and their development of chips to get the Turing chip for faster processing, more cameras, more safety, faster response times. That will help the safety features. I was in the US recently and saw the self-driving Uber taxis equivalent, the food delivery, fraught with problems, and it's problematic still. But we'll see it more and more. It's just going to be a slow, long game for that. And you know the reason for that.
Xpeng was probably the first company to start out with LiDAR. And then CEO goes to America, test drives a Tesla, comes back, he wants to go vision only. Then vision only, he goes, right, we'll leave the radars and sensors in. And with the G7, I'm not sure, but the report I got was that it's going to be cameras only now. Sensors are going as well. So the
Why do you think that is?
I have my
Because
thoughts.
there's a lot of fans of LiDAR. But anyway, keep going with your query.
My query is why that?
Oh, so the same as my query. Why do you why do you think that is?
Yeah, because again, going back to stats, you've got to have redundancies, and plan A is your LiDAR, and if LiDAR's got a problem, you've got your millimeter wave radars, and if your millimeter wave radars got problems, you've got your cameras. Oh, right, sorry, it's the other way around. So cameras up top, millimeter wave radars, and your LiDAR at the bottom. And the worse the more adverse weather conditions you get, the more likely it is that you're going to cycle through your redundancies. Now, I do understand that cycling through your redundancies slows down the response times to the decision making on the onboard computers, but you've got the new Turing chip. You've then put in the G7. You've put 3 of those in there, which is 2,220 trillion operations per second. Why remove the redundancies? You've now got enough capacity in there for it to cycle through all the redundancies and make a decision.
Yeah, so many Xpeng users that I speak to, many of them mention LiDAR and why this is being potentially decommissioned, and in many instances, in some markets, not even engaged. I don't have an answer to it. I suspect it's maybe not proficient.
Okay.
I don't think it's costly. With the scenario you just painted, with poor weather, poor visibility, wet roads. I've even had this question at a conference. Kangaroos jumping across roads, especially in WA,
Yeah.
is the random events. And Australia is the home of random events on the road, and poor quality roads. It is surprising. I don't have an answer. I suspect it's not proficient, but my personal opinion is to have that as a redundancy.
Yeah.
To just for forever improving safety.
Yeah.
Is what we should be doing. And then in terms of the future driverless mobility, you need that more and more. Again, for safety and for redundancies. So it is surprising.
Okay, come on, Jason. At least debate me a little. You're disagreeing with me.
Well, yeah, maybe I'm too nerdy, but I did see that Tesla are abandoning it, but very strongly, and I'm just surprised. I've looked into it. I just haven't seen any firm reasoning, which is why I just don't have anything to debate you with. It's like a vacuum.
Did you see the YouTube video of some nerdy guy test the Tesla without cameras with another car with radar millimeter wave in the US?
No, what happened?
Oh, you should watch that. So basically, he tricked it. The Tesla rammed into a wall because basically they put artificial fog, smoke. They tested it in wet conditions. They tested, and every single time the Tesla failed. And the cars with the millimeter radars with the LiDAR on it, they passed every single time. So the nerd in me figured out that the problem was the redundancy cycling through meant that XNGP was a bit slower to respond. And if you're only dealing with one particular thing, the processing power does not have to be so much consumed by what's going on. But now that you've got the Turing chip and you've got that much processing power in it, you shouldn't be, in my opinion, the redundancy should be put back in. You should watch that video. I think it's done well over about 20 million views already.
20,000,001 coming up.
All right. So definitely,
I'll check that out. Yeah.
He tested it smoke, fog, rain, a wall that was painted white to figure out that if in bright weather, if it's very sunny, a white object will be very difficult for the camera to pick up. And the Tesla went straight through the wall.
Ouch.
So when you then remove all those things that are supposed to be redundancies, they're supposed to actually protect against this type of adverse scenarios, then it just kind of... anyways, I was hoping for a debate, but we're on the same page, so there's no point. Thank you so much you've been very, very kind with your time today, Jason, and I do appreciate it. Hopefully I'll get to bump into you again soon.
Yeah, Nee, thanks so much. I look, as a parting comment, we have a really great product. We're tracking well. There's just so much to be done.
Yeah.
You'll find many things will correct themselves.
Yeah.
And you'll start to see a flourish of new models and outlets, and then it'll probably contract a bit, and then you'll see another push.
Yeah.
So we've had a great initial push. There's been some growing pains, some uncertainty about the market and the demand. That's been resolved. You'll now see another push.
Okay. I look forward to it.
If you ever need anything or want confirmation, please reach out.
Will do.
Happy to furnish you with anything you want. And if you come to Sydney, don't be a stranger, as I won't when I'm next in Perth.
No problem. Please, when you come into Perth, let me know. I'll take you around.
All right. I appreciate it. All right. Thanks for the chat.
You take care now. Bye.
Okay. See you. Bye.